Well, welcome everybody. So I must admit I'm a little bit nervous because normally when I talk about servant leadership, I do it in front of students that don't know what it is. This is a different crowd. So if I say something that's contrary to what you've published, just believe that. Don't believe me. Alright. So I wanted to welcome you. Thank you again. Thank you for help organizing it. For the organizers, thank you so much, Tim. And Jim asked me to say some of the amazing things that are going on at MSOE, and it's interesting because I think many of these things I take for granted being at this university. I know that they are very dedicated for experiential learning. I see the passion, not just in our instructors, but now we have the Create Institute that really works with the instructors to create not just telling students about things, but having them experience it. And we have, when did the Charity Servant Leadership get started? 2007 here?
Yeah.
What that?
2 years.
Wow. Okay, so we've had a number of charities of servant leadership come through then. We've had interaction with student organizations, greatly increasing their involvement with the community, student-led service projects, and that's been wonderful to see. Recently, I've had the honor of working with the Humanitarian Engineering Club and seeing how they're doing more international projects in many bigger, larger institutions. It's a bit stressful, but it's also amazing. So really seeing that take form. Later, we had Deanna Lightsky started the Create Institute here, which is, as I mentioned earlier, works with all the professors to really create a very engaging learning experience. And now, something that's also happened is we've started working with introducing common learning outcomes throughout the curriculum. So some of you have seen that, the MSOE mindset, the left side of it, Aaron April, the servant leadership mindset. And so this is something that we've had out, and it's easy to put together something like this. Maybe it takes a little bit of effort to print on a big board. But anyway, you have it out there, and it's easy to talk about it, but now we've started implementing this intentionally throughout the curriculum, right? So now we're seeing, well, what does it mean for them to develop into somebody with a servant leadership mindset? What type of qualities do we need to put into the curriculum? What type of learning activities do we need to do? And what type of knobs do we need to turn in our classes to make sure that our graduates are the leaders of character that we really want them to become? So I'm really proud of the effort that MSOE has done, but I also want to be clear that, we're inspired by the work that so many other universities are doing, right? We're reading the papers from other universities and seeing what they're doing. Common learning outcomes aren't a new thing. We read this from the AAC and you, right? So we're really very inspired, and we're very grateful for what's happening all throughout the academic community. So thank you so much. All right, I'm going to tell a story because a colleague told me this recently, and I thought it was endemic to servant leadership. I thought it was a beautiful example, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. So he told me about an interaction he had with a student. It was a coding assignment, a computational assignment, and the student raises his hand. The professor comes over, and the student says, "This is wrong. Why is it wrong?" So already when I'm hearing this, my blood's starting to be you just tell the student what's up. So anyway, this guy has much more cool, calm, and collected demeanor, and he calmly tells the student, "Well, let's take a look at it. Did you write anything on paper? Sometimes it's easier if you write it on paper first, and then you translate it into the code." And so the student responds, "Well, that's a waste of time." And this professor just says, "Please just give it a try, and I'll come back." So it comes back. And you know what angry handwriting looks like, right? Probably room like this. And so it comes back, and the professor sees the input written on the paper, looks on the computer screen. There's a unit messed up the units. So he acknowledges that, and the student says, not so politely, "Great, I'm glad I wasted all this time writing this up on paper." But I was getting so angry just hearing the story. And so the professor just said, calmly walks away and doesn't even acknowledge that class period. He knew the student was, when somebody's in an angry mind state, right, they're not in a position to learn. And my reactive nature would be to tell them at that moment, but they're not in a receptive position. So he calmly waits. until the next class period. And it talks to him after the class. And it really struck me how he approached the situation where he said, "Say, what did you think about that interaction we had the other day?"
Wait.
And the student, was calmer, but still said, "Yeah, I don't think it went very well." And said, "Yeah, what do you think we could do better?" And he said, "We." Like, it wasn't like you. I can't be an instructor, so I can tell people what to do. I'll do it, but yeah, let's bring us all in. Let's see what. And so together, they came up with a plan for the class to. It was a debugging algorithm for all the students in the class, where they come across this problem, they follow these steps, so they can debug their own code. And it was really inspiring to see the patience and the absolute commitment to the growth of this student. Really wanting this person to be the best person that can become. And so in the process, not only did they create something that was ultimately useful for the student, for the professor, so the professor doesn't have to debug things all the time, and for the rest of the class, now the student saw a few things. The student got their problem solved. The student gained confidence by having somebody legitimately care and hold the space for somebody in a difficult space or a difficult mood, and was inspired, whether they know it or not. But how often do we know, like, if we do something nice to somebody, then we can retrace that to, oh, I remember when that teacher did that for me. And so it was really neat to see all that come together. And I think that's what's beautiful about student leadership is there's so many external things we can point to, but there are so many things that are unrewarded. There's no extrinsic reward. There's no, and you can't put that on a resume, but somebody's life was changed. And so I'm very grateful to all of you because you are leading this movement to help change lives. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.